With Gen V Season 2 coming to an end, and the last season of The Boys on the horizon, I thought it would be fun to make a video ranking all the different alive Supes in The Boys universe. So obviously, this video is going to have heavy spoilers. These rankings are based on my opinion, and I've tried to be as objective as possible. But if you disagree, then please let me know in the comments. It's always fun hearing other people's opinions. Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with Starlight. Starlight is going into the mid to low B tier. I would have ranked her lower in the C tier, but she recently learned to fly, which does give her an edge. We repeatedly see that her power is pretty weak. Even when she's at her strongest, it fails to do any meaningful damage. Her strength and durability are also on the lower end of average, as in Season 1, Butcher shoots her with a rifle and she is severely stunned and knocked to the ground. She does get some props for being somewhat skilled in fighting though, but all these factors taken together means she's probably just around a lower B tier Supe. Homelander is number 1 obviously, we all know it, the narrative of the show revolves around it, so I don't think I really need to explain much here, he's number 1. The Deep's powers only have unique situations where they can be good, otherwise he is just a strong man. His strength and durability does seem to be around mid to high tier though, and his fighting skill is certainly decent, as he was able to square up with Starlight and win up until A-Train bailed her out. For these reasons, the Deep is going into the B tier. Maverick should be a high to maybe mid B tier Supe. His powers are definitely very OP against people that don't have a counter to it, but he lacks the strength and durability that his father Translucent had. So he's basically just a strong Supe that can go invisible. We do see Marie knock him out by just hitting him with the big object, so that lack of durability is kind of holding him back. So I think it's fair that he goes into the B tier. Sage is tough to rank because she doesn't have any super strength or durability, or any powers really. All she has is that her brain can regenerate, allowing her to learn easier and be very smart, but trying to rank someone on them being intelligent is difficult. She is trying to be a mastermind behind all of Homelander's schemes, but this means her strengths come from other people doing stuff for her. So if I were to just rank her based on herself, she would be like almost the weakest Supe, and I think that she should probably go into the D tier. A-Train's super speed is very overpowered, as we see in the fight with him versus the Deep. This alone would have made him a top contender, but his durability is in question. In Season 1, we see Kimiko easily destroy his leg with a crowbar, implying that his durability can't match that of someone like Soldier Boy. The consequence of this is that I doubt A-Train could beat the high tier Supes in a fight, since he would just break his own body if he were to start punching them. Nonetheless, he is still going to A tier, since he could probably take on anyone who is around his durability. Jordan's powers aren't terribly strong, but their shockwave ability isn't awful either. Furthermore, their physical strength and durability is quite high, but I would rank it as like the low end of the high tiered strength. However, we also see Jordan is very skilled at fighting, which repeatedly carries them in fights, and as a result, I think it would be fair to put Jordan in the A tier. Cindy has a telekinesis-like power where she can control objects by crushing or throwing them. She can also do this to humans, allowing her to pop human heads. She also has super durability, as we see her get shot several times at Sage Grove Center, and she is unfazed by it. However, she is basically insane, which I think is a weakness in her case, and we see Stormfront easily subdue her, indicating that Cindy struggles against higher tier Supes, possibly due to her lack of experience. Nonetheless, her power is still very strong. We even see Lamplighter deathly afraid of her when she gets released, so I think she should go in at least the high B tier. And I should note that she could easily be higher tier if she's able to pop higher durability Supes, but we just currently don't know just how strong her powers really are. Sam has outrageous strength and durability. I'd like to think his raw strength might even be more than Soldier Boy. It was said in Season 1 of Gen V that Sam is stronger than Golden Boy, which was supposed to be the next Homelander. However, he does have some drawbacks, so let's talk about that. First off, he's vulnerable to high doses of electricity, which means humans can frequently make him unconscious just by using a strong taser. Secondly, he doesn't have any real powers other than his super strength. Lastly, he's also schizophrenic, which makes him rather illogical at times, but when he does tweak out, he does seem to be even stronger, so one might argue this is a strength, and I think this is why in Season 2 of Gen V, he appeared to be so, weak, he seemed to be so nerfed compared to Season 1, and that's just because he didn't have his schizo rage. Season 1 Sam was just a different monster though. I mean, just check out these clips of him.
I got a broken fucking brain!
What's going on?
Tweaking on meth. Just let my family go, please.
They're not real! I don't want to. He can't have her! Just... No! You are not touching me again! Take the fuck out of here!
Oh God, no, no.
I'd like to think that Cate could make him tweak out and make him an unstoppable force, easily making him S tier, but this is just speculation, so I won't actually use it in the rankings. All in all, because of his weakness to electricity, and that he's been strengthening his mental state so he doesn't have his schizo rage as often, Sam will just go into the A tier. Love Sausage is more of a meme character. His main power is that he gets longer range with his, Love Sausage, but his strength and durability are average at most. He is able to knock MM to the ground with his powers, but we also see Kimiko knock him out easily by punching him in the head with brass knuckles at the Sage Grove Center. Since his head didn't explode from that punch, that means he does have some level of enhanced durability. He doesn't really seem like much of a fighter though, and doesn't display much combat skill, so for these reasons, I think he can go into the high C tier. Soldier Boy is undoubtedly S tier. He's one of the strongest and most durable Supes. His real power comes from his radioactive blast that permanently weakens any Supe it hits, frying the V out of their blood. This gives him a lethal force against anyone, making it the strongest offensive power we have seen. And as a result, I think he should go into the second place. I don't think Butcher would be able to beat him in a fight because Kessler has to go melee against Soldier Boy, which means he can use his radioactive blast and just easily win. We've also seen Soldier Boy shield slam Ryan and nearly knock him out, all the while he was able to also tank his laser vision, so I think he would be able to take on Ryan. The only person Soldier Boy wouldn't be able to take on is Homelander, and we saw this during the Herogasm fight where Homelander was winning until Soldier Boy got help from Temp v Butcher and Huey. Nonetheless, having the strongest offensive power combined with almost the strongest durability means Soldier Boy is undoubtedly going to second place. Annabeth deserves to go into last place. She doesn't have any enhanced strength or durability, and she lacks combat skills. Additionally, her powers seem to be unreliable as it's not always correct, so she can't even benefit from that either. She's effectively just a human that's weak and doesn't know how to fight. I'll put Sage higher than her because at least Sage is smart, which will give her an edge over Annabeth, who is just weak and basically has a useless power. The reason why I think her power is so useless is because she was wrong about the Godolkin fight, and if they'd listened to her, then they wouldn't have taken out Godolkin. So that shows that her power can be very wrong and have significant consequences. Firecracker has a very weak power that's basically useless, but she does have average strength and durability. She doesn't seem to be that skilled in combat, as her beatdown by Starlight showed. So she's just an average strength Supe that isn't very good at fighting. I think it'd be fair that I put her in this C tier. Harper is very tricky to rank. It's unclear if she has enhanced strength and durability. All we know, she has a tail that is useless and can steal powers for a minute. She doesn't seem to have any combat experience or fighting skills either. In order to steal powers though, she needs to make physical contact with another Supe, which is a very limiting factor since she's probably physically weak. I'm going to put her in the C tier, and my reasoning is this. If you match her against any other Supe, and say she even manages to steal her opponent's power, she is less experienced with the power and only has it for a minute, which is weaker than what her opponent has. Additionally, if she was against someone with a significant power, she would probably be dead by the time she tried to steal it. So I think it's fair to put Harper into the C tier, and this is mainly just because she isn't totally useless, otherwise I would have put her in the D tier. Cate is a tough one to grade. On one hand, her powers are among the strongest we've seen, but she also has to be melee to use them. The problem with this is that we've routinely seen that she's one of the weakest Supes physically. She got her skull cracked open and nearly died from being shockwaved into a wall. We even see Cypher threaten to put her hand in a blender, implying that she was too physically weak to break the blender with her hand. As a result, Cate is limited to only using her powers for stealth and manipulation tasks. But this brings us to another concern I have. Cate routinely uses her manipulation power according to how she is instructed to do, by people that are smarter than her. On her own, she's demonstrated that she's kinda dumb and struggles to use her powers in a very meaningful way. For instance, when Cate was partnered with Shetty in Season 1, Cate seemed really overpowered because her unique abilities allowed her to help the school control and conduct research on unstable, powerful Supes. But this is Shetty instructing Cate on how to use her powers. Since she is not the smartest on her own, and she's very physically weak, I'd like to think that if Season 1 Butcher had to fight her, he would just simply shoot her in the head, which would make Cate seem very weak. I'll be generous and put her into the B tier solely because of her powers, but I feel like one could easily make the argument that she'd be C tier if not lower. Kimiko has pretty good strength. We routinely see her throwing around and damaging durable opponents in fights, but obviously her physical durability is kind of weak, and it only seems to apply to like a blunt force trauma like punches. Otherwise, her physical durability is basically the same as humans, as she routinely gets just completely eviscerated by anything with like high pressure like bullets or knives. Even Frenchie is able to just cut off her leg quickly with a handsaw, and he's not even a Supe. But obviously Kimiko's regenerative power is very strong, allowing her to return to normal after suffering what would otherwise be a fatal blow. She is also seen to be an extremely skilled fighter, allowing her to take on opponents that are much stronger than she is. So because of this, I'm going to put Kimiko in the high B tier, and the reason why she isn't higher on the list is that against these strong A tier Supes, I think her lack of durability would allow these stronger Supes to just annihilate her so much that she wouldn't be able to regenerate from it. She would already significantly struggle against many B tier Supes because of her lack of durability, but I think her combat skills can make up for that difference, so I'll put her in the B tier. Allie is going into the C tier. We don't know much about her power level, other than she was able to temporarily restrain Godolkin, but he didn't have very strong physical strength. Even if she does have super strength, I'd guess it's on the weaker end, since she said she only got accepted into Godolkin because her family was wealthy. It seems that she has very little to no combat experience and doesn't know how to fight, so all these factors taken together means she's probably just a C tier Supe. Rufus's powers are similar to Cate's, but he doesn't need to have physical contact to use them. We see him hypnotize Andre from a close range and makes Andre just go order a burger, so it seems he can't push as strongly as Cate can, but still has significant telepathic abilities. Rufus has the advantage that he has super durability, as we see Andre slam a keg at him and send him flying through a wall, and Rufus only sustained minor injuries from this. Since his power is probably weaker than Cate's in terms of what he can make the other person do, but has much stronger durability, I think I'm going to rank them evenly, putting Rufus in the B tier. New Noir is an interesting one. We haven't seen the full extent of his strength, but he appears to be significantly stronger than average, if not just one of the strongest Supes. He also has the ability to fly, which is one of the better powers, but his super narcolepsy is a severely limiting factor, as he will literally just fall asleep mid-fight. He also seemingly lacks fighting skills, as he repeatedly stumbles around and prolongs fights, when he should have just, flied at them and killed them instantly. But since his strength and durability are so high, and he can also fly, he'll still be going into the A tier. The black hole guy is just going into the high C tier. This is because his power has quite limited practical uses, but he does seem to have some degree of enhanced strength and durability. We just don't really know how strong he is. Given that he's just a meme on the campus, it's likely he's not close to someone like Soldier Boy's level of strength, so he's just a guy with a fun power and super strength. So Black Hole can go into the highest C tier. Polarity has the ability to manipulate magnetic fields, allowing him to release blast waves or move objects. This power is certainly good, but against high tier Supes it definitely starts to fall off considerably, since their super durability means throwing objects does significantly reduce damage to them, and doesn't really carry a lethal force. Polarity also suffers from micro tears in his brain when he uses his powers, so he can't fully exert himself or he'll just stroke out. This definitely weakens him, but he does have several strong points. His physical strength and durability are on the higher end, as we see him take a beating from very strong Supes like Sam and Jordan. He even got thrown into concrete walls by them while only taking very minor injuries. He was also renewed by Marie in Season 2 of Gen V, so he is sharper than ever, and he's middle-aged, meaning that he is quite experienced with his powers and fighting. So when you take in all these factors, he might sound like an S-tier Supe, but as mentioned before, he does kinda lack the lethal force against high-tier Supes, so I think it's more fair to just put him in the higher end of A tier instead. Kessler Empowered Butcher was seen to have close to Homelander tier strength during the Newman incident, if not even stronger. The downside is we don't fully know how strong Butcher himself is. Although he is very intelligent and good at fighting, I doubt that he would be more powerful than someone like Homelander, since that would mess up the show's narrative. Kessler is probably stronger than Ryan though, at least currently anyways, since we've seen the season 3 finale that a shield slam from Soldier Boy causes Ryan's head to bleed. So I think Kessler could remake the Newman incident with Ryan if push came to shove. Now, I don't think that Kessler Empowered Butcher alone would be strong enough to take out Soldier Boy though, because we have seen Ben to have just outrageous durability, and Kessler is fully melee. This means that Soldier Boy could very easily land his radioactive blast, and that should default win the fight for him. For these reasons, I'm going to put Butcher into 3rd place. The main thing Zoe has got going for her is her powers have a very strong offensive capabilities. We see that her eel demon things have a significant lethal force, as they do absurdly high damage in a small concentrated area, which allows her to take out really strong Supes like Vicor. Seeing as Vicor was able to take punches from strong Supes like Sam and Jordan, this means that eel demon things could probably do damage to high tier Supes like Soldier Boy, although it would probably have a smaller effect, just slowly eating away at them instead of just completely demolishing them. This uniquely strong power does definitely put her in the high end of the tier list, but she has some significant weaknesses. Zoe doesn't really have much of a fighting skill, and she just relies on her eel things to do the fighting for her. And more importantly, her durability is on the weaker end. She is able to take bullets, but she did start to bleed a little bit when she got shot by pistols, but she wasn't very phased, so it's not like a major injury. And during the Newman incident, one of Butcher's tentacle things just slapped her in the face and she was knocked unconscious. And we also saw the CIA agent get slapped and he didn't die, he was just knocked through a window. So this means her durability might be on the lower end. So since she can be destroyed probably pretty easily, if Kessler were to just grab her and just Newman her, and she's not very skilled, she's probably going to go in the maybe high B tier. Yeah, we'll say high B tier, because her offensive ability is still outrageously strong. Ryan has shown that he has the potential to be the strongest Supe. However, he suffers from inexperience and he is still developing, so he isn't anywhere close to his full power currently. I'm trying to base these rankings largely on how strong a character is currently, so I don't want to speculate too much about his future strength. So I'll put him into the 4th place. The reason for this is he could easily defeat anyone below him in the rankings, while it is unlikely he would be able to defeat anyone higher in the rankings, which is just Homelander, Soldier Boy, and Butcher. When he uses his laser vision effectively, we saw it had just completely devastating power on really strong supes like Stormfront, meaning only those with high durability could have a chance at standing against him. A weakness of Ryan's, though, is that his physical durability is less than Homelander's, as we saw a shield bash from Soldier Boy cause him to start bleeding and he was severely stunned, which leads me to think that Butcher would still be able to win because of that. The reason why I've placed him above Marie is that it's doubtful she could use her blood powers on him, since he should be similar to Homelander, and his laser should be strong enough to just tear her apart pretty much, since we've seen her durability wasn't as high as someone like Soldier Boy. Although Ryan's raw power is supposed to be the strongest, his lack of experience means he would probably lose against Soldier Boy, and because of that, I think it's fair that he can just go into the 4th place. Emma is an interesting one. Her strength and durability are average, but this seems to change as she changes in size. Although she is undoubtedly strong AF when she's large, I'm not sure if she's strong enough to carry a lethal force to the high tier supes. We see when she's large she was able to restrain Sam, but she isn't particularly hurting or injuring him. And the other time she gets large, she kicks Godolkin, which only knocked him back a little bit. So this implies her strength is not strong enough to kill someone like Soldier Boy, but she is undoubtedly strong when large. However, the massive drawback is that she's not very good at using her powers. For this reason, I'm going to put her into the B tier. And I would like to note it's possible she could be A tier, but since she struggles to use her powers consistently, and she doesn't really have much of a fighting spirit, that would limit her, so I think it's fair to put her in the B tier. Greg is able to fly, and he has super strength and durability. We see he's able to crack concrete by just slamming his foot on the ground, and he was able to square up with Sam, Jordan, and Polarity while only sustaining minor injuries. This means his strength and durability are definitely higher tier, and since he can fly, he seems to be pretty evenly matched with the new Noir. We just haven't seen him fight an awful lot, so it's hard to get a good grasp of how strong he is. But based off of these factors, it sounds pretty fair to put Greg into the A tier. Marie is a bit tougher to grade. Her raw strength and durability are a bit weaker for a supe, as she's able to easily cut herself with just a pocket knife. We also see her repeatedly get thrashed around whenever trying to use her strength against other supes, like when she uses her blood leash ability on Sam or Vicor, they just easily overpower her and throw her around. The main thing she has going for her is her powers, but I think they're mainly overpowered only in a regenerative way, and that's why Godolkin was so obsessed with her. We see her struggle to inflict serious damage on stronger opponents like Vicor, so I don't think her powers are strong enough to kill Homelander or the Homelander family, or at least not yet. Additionally, if she were to face against Kessler empowered Butcher, it's very unclear how that fight would go, since Kessler presumably doesn't have blood since he's this weird virus thing. And you can make the argument that she could pop Butcher, but maybe Kessler would be able to protect him. We just don't fully know how that would play out. So I think it's fair to put Marie in 5th place, just below the Homelander family and Butcher. We don't know much about this supe, other than a small scene in season 1, but his laser vision was blue and looked more intense than Homelander's, and usually blue is hotter than a red, so this crazy offensive power means the laser baby has to be at least an A tier supe. So there we have it. All the alive supes in the boys universe ranked. I might have missed some of the odd background supes that go to Godolkin, but we don't know enough about them anyways to even base a ranking on them. If you think I'm wrong about some of these rankings, let me know in the comments. I'm excited to hear what other people think. Anyways, until next time.